So this is our video all about whetstones or how to sharpen your knife. If you are not sure that you're ready for whetstones or you want to do whetstones, don't be scared of it, you can totally do it. But if you're after a really quick way of getting around things, sort of like the cheats way of getting stuff, then go have a look at our video about using honing rods and diamond sharpening rods. That'll get you 90% of where we're going to go real fast. It's a bit of a cheat way of doing it, but you know what, just gets you cooking faster, so I'm not going to judge you. Go use whatever you want to do. The video for that will be down below. Now moving on to whetstones and what they're all about. Whetstones, I think of them like sandpaper. They come in different grits. You basically use them to remove metal from your knife, and you start off with a very rough grit and work your way all the way up to a very fine grit. This is a 220 grit. This is really rough. It literally is like a house brick. And then we can work all the way up to the other end. This is 8,000 grit, and this is super smooth. You basically can't feel anything on there. My hands don't feel like there's anything rough there at all. And you would work your way up through all the different stones. There's many stones in between. If you're just starting out, we do a combination kit now, which has a rough stone and a smooth stone. This will do just fine. If you really want to top it up, finish up with like a 2,000 grit, which we also sell as well, and you'll have enough there to get you going without having to worry about it too much. The general gist is you go for the kind of grit that you need for, and unfortunately that comes down to experience. Chances are you're not going to need this great big house brick here unless your knife is really, really, really blunt. That's when you cut this bad boy out. And you use that in order to cut basically a brand new edge, and then you'd work your way up through the grits. How many is up to you? I tend to do about 3. I'm not a big fan of sharpening for the sharpening's sake. I own knives so I can cut and cook. I don't own knives just to sharpen. So my sharpening technique is very much about just getting back in the kitchen and getting back to do what I want to do. So if you've got a really blunt knife, you start off with something really rough like this. Hopefully if you bought a knife off us though, you better keep it something like either the ceramic honing rod, or you're going to start out probably with like a 2,000 grit. You can use that to just polish your knife back up. And if you're starting out with a nice fresh knife, you can do that once a month, once every 2 months. That'll keep it going. But you have to be careful. If you've not done it before and you start messing around with your knife, you are going to end up breaking that edge. You're potentially going to dull your knife rather than actually sharpen it, which is where the practice comes in, which is why we recommend, if you're not ready for it and you haven't got the time in your life, go to the diamond sharpening rod. But if you're sticking it with the whetstones, welcome to the club. It's great fun, but treat it like a sport. It takes a bit of practice to get right. And stick it out, you'll get there. Don't worry about it. This is like the cheats guide and we'll get you through it real fast.